Alright, welcome back to the SuperCoach Nuff channel. In today's video, we're going to do a bit of a around the ground style look at our moves heading into round 4 of the NRL season and round 2 of the AFL season. So, unfortunately, a bit of a full dance card coming up in the next few days. So, um, thought I'd just do one video just to sort of go over the usual, I guess, look at the trades and captaincy choices so far in NRL Supercoach, and then obviously how that impacts my trades as well as my trades across NRL Fantasy, Sports Deck, and also AFL Supercoach. Don't quite have the time to do all the work to get multiple videos up, so let's rip in. So we'll start by having a look at the team and go to the players section. So in terms of the most popular trades, so the most popular one, Reece Walsh in for James Tedesco. So obviously the Roosters are on a buy. Tedesco looks to be leaking some cash with the Roosters' spotty form at the start of the year. And Reece Walsh has obviously been braining it since getting a start in round 2. So yeah, I'd traded Tedesco last week, so I can't be too critical of people making this decision. Um, Reece Walsh might just be a quick cash grab. So if you feel like you got the trades, it's probably fine. Um, yeah, number 2, Payne Haas to Ruben Cotter. So Cotter's out injured for a few weeks, so that makes sense. Bringing in Payne Haas, he's been playing real well as well. Part of the reason why the Broncos are up around the top if they're not top of the ladder. Uh, Third, Schuster in, Adam Dewey out. So I think this was fairly popular even before the news that Dewey's got a toe injury. So was named a fullback, and personally wasn't too phased about the move to fullback. I figured his tackles will be replaced with more runs and more opportunities to break tackles. Get his hands on the ball in any potential backline movements leading to tries, try assists, that sort of thing. Um, but yeah, I think if he's injured, and also there's a bit of talk about Isaiah Katoa might miss for the Dolphins, so um, I'm probably in a situation where I am going to have to trade Dewey, and Schuster is the only one that makes sense. He looks like he's going to make us a fair bit of cash. The other 5'8" guns are sort of faltering a bit, so once the levels balance out, we can jump on a Munster or maybe even Dylan Brown, something of that nature. I haven't thought too much about it. Probably leaning towards Munster, let's be honest. So Schuster to Tedesco, so I guess that's a combination of the couple options there. Obviously, you need the fullback 5'8" swing to make that happen. So if you've got it, fair play. Haas for Christian Welch. So I'm not sure what's going on with Christian Welch. I thought he was playing this week. I know he got low minutes last week, and that scared a few people off. But I guess if you've got the money to go up the Haas, it's not the worst idea in the world. So Tommy Turbo for Tedesco. Yep. So if you don't have Turbo, get him in. That's a simple one. Walsh to Dewey. So I guess again people cashing in with that fullback 5'8" swing. So that's fine. Jacob Preston to James Tedesco. So there's a few more sort of dual positions swings involved there, but yeah, absolutely get Preston in if you haven't got him. Number 9's interesting. So Ruben Cotter using that money to go to Nico Hines. I don't hate that move actually. Um, yeah, it's an easy way to get to him, particularly if you sort of didn't build the war chest like I did last week. And Egan to Harry Grant. So I think Egan is out for a couple of weeks, is he not? Yeah, so he's not selected to play. I forget whether that was concussion. That's right. So yeah, if you got the money to go up to Grant, absolutely get on. So the traded outs. So the first three we've all talked about. Yeah, fine with Tedesco, absolutely. Cotter, Dewey, I think so, yes. Sam Walker at 4. So I think if you're going up to Nico Hines, that makes sense. Obviously, I know a few people tried to grab some quick cash from Walker. He actually lost 9k though, so obviously missed how he went last week. Not great. um, yeah, so maybe that plan didn't quite work out, but obviously Hines coming in, fair enough, bring him in. Cleary at fifth, so I guess it's weird to hold him for the buy and then trade him out. I know Hines is back and people might want to run with Hines over Cleary. That was my sort of choice um, pre-season. But I think if you've got him, now that he's had his buy in particular, you just hold. Um, Penrith will come good. They might have just needed that week to freshen up and think things through. Welsh, well, like I said, if you can go up to someone like a Payne Haas, or you can use that money elsewhere, it's not the worst shout in the world. So probably, if he's the guy you're trading, you're probably doing all right, I think. Warbrick, so um, obviously it hasn't fired yet, but I'd be more inclined to hold and wait for that spike game. Pretty sure there's no bottom dollar centre wing cheapies on the bubble. Um, so yeah, I can see some people getting impatient and jumping off, but I wouldn't recommend it. So I think that's not the best trade. Tanner Boyd, so I'm going to trade him out this week. That was always the plan, so I can't be too critical of people trading him. I think most of his points from last week were off the back of his goal kicks, though. So being him, Ponga obviously has to go until he can sort the concussion issues out. And Sawali, so he's another one on a buy. Free up some cash. It looks like he's going to leak a bit. That's okay. That makes sense. Trade ins. So again, the first 4 or 5 I think we've covered, but Walsh, yeah, okay. Haas, yep, if you can do it, that's a good one. Schuster, going early, but there's no real options at particularly 5'8". Not too many more at second row, I would have thought. Hines, yep, bring him in if you're keen to start with him. Preston, absolutely. He's made 100k. He'll make a couple hundred more. Tommy Turbo, absolutely. His price is about to explode off the back of 2 tons essentially. Adam Reynolds. So this is an interesting in. Maybe um, players looking at. I don't even know. Maybe sideways in Sam Walker. That's still not a great move. Like obviously the Broncos are doing well, but Reynolds isn't traditionally a SuperCoach scorer. Um, yeah, he obviously steers the side around and controls it, but he's not a big runner of the ball, that sort of thing, like your Hines, your Clearys types. So yeah, I don't like that trading option. It's probably the only one out of the top 10 I don't like. Um, Harry Grant, yep, absolutely. Tyrell Sloan, so um, yeah, I guess when we get to my trades, we'll talk about him a bit more, but I'll give that a tick. And Tohu Harris, absolutely. If you can afford him, you know, he's up there with Payne Haas in terms of get him in the front row. So yeah, so that's the trades. In terms of the captaincy options, let's have a look at all the coaches and who they've picked. So that's ownership. So most people going with Harry Grant, 20% of the comp. Um, and yeah, I tend to agree. Against the Tigers, he could go massive. Um, yeah, so yeah, he's my captaincy. Just a bit of a spoiler out there. Tommy Turbo, so quite a lot of people banking him to do well against Souths. I think yeah, if you like that risk, you can absolutely go for it. Maybe VC if you have a look at the most popular VCs, he's there, and probably then you've got him in with Nico Hines as captain. But maybe give Hines a week just to see how the calf is. Hopgood, so a lot of people still probably haven't switched yet, or maybe just the warm weather is what's to blame there. So again, first game of the round, I'd be more inclined to VC. Same thing with Cleary. So VC, but I know some people like the straight C option. But the VC option is much easier nowadays with the teams having a buy. So um, yeah, it's whichever one you choose, I suppose. Hines. So yeah, last game of the round, so it's always a good sort of banker option. And it's, especially against St George, and that Sharks are always up for it, so that's fair. And then I guess the sort of starting to get a bit out there with Latrell, Reece Walsh, Garrick, Tedesco. So obviously that'll change. He's on a bye. Val Holmes, so maybe a few people trying to catch a pod captain there. After that, it starts to get below 2%, so we won't sweat on that. Yeah, so as I said, how that shapes my team going forward. So first move was always going to be Boyd out and got to scroll down a fair bit. Hines in. And thanks to Boyd sort of saving a bit of cash, getting above his projected score, sort of a couple of hundred. So it's finally time to get rid of Loomy. This makes me super happy. Um, and I'm bringing in Tyrell Sloan. So obviously the super low break even is one of the factors of that, but just also the fact that he's had some press in the last couple of weeks about last year he wasn't at his best and he was kicking stones and blaming everyone else, and he's sort of taken ownership of that. So that's a really good sign to me. The job security's there. He's got the fullback job as long as he wants it at the Dragons. It looks like he's making a real fist of it to start the season. So super happy to have him in the side. So they're going to be the two trades. Not going to use a boost. Um, yeah, so thinking about trying to save them up more towards around the buys where possible, unless we get a couple of absolute bargains come up that we need to jump on. Yeah, we'll try to hang on to those. So in terms of how the team shapes up, so obviously Smith's not going to be playing this week, so we take the reserve off him. Whacking on Hines, and that's because I've got Cleary VC game one, just because Harry Grant plays in that second game. So, could potentially VC Grant and then go into Hines, but Brandon Smith would be my loop. So it doesn't quite work out for me to do it that way. So if I want two cracks at it, excuse me, Cleary at VC, Grant at captain, but I'm more than happy with that. Forward pack will stay the same, and unfortunately, I think Dury might end up with the reserve, or yeah, I guess the other option is Alamotti, so I'll just switch this around. So Sloan and Nickel Clockstead's back, so he's in. So that's a juicy looking centre wing combo. I've obviously got Taruva as well as an option. Lining up against Mike Acevo. Yeah, I guess if I'm backing Cleary in to get a big one, he could be the last reserve. Um, but I guess maybe just go with Alamotti. He just looked super good last week. I know he's not going to have a game like that every week, but it's just that confidence that you need to kickstart your career, perhaps. Um, yeah, so I guess they're the trades. As I said, um, it looks like at the sort of time of recording that Dewey um, could be out, and as I said, there's an injury cloud over Katoa. So there is actually a chance that I could go Dewey to Schuster. I guess I'm going to leave it as long as possible. So Friday's pretty early in the round. Obviously, Manly play on the Saturday, so that helps too. But yeah, I guess tomorrow or Friday afternoon, I should say, just get an indication of where they're at. Obviously, if Dewey's named out, um, yeah, I might even just go with Katoa for a week. I know it's not going to help my overall, but saving the trade could give me some more options next week. Um, But yeah, I haven't fully settled on that one, to be honest, but I've got some time to think about it. And yeah, we'll go from there. So, yeah, that's how the SuperCoach team is standing. SuperCoach NRL, I should say. Um, so as I said, with the others, I'll do the other NRL ones first, I suppose, get them out of the way. So um, I'll go back to the NRL fantasy team. So in terms of what I'm looking at doing this week, um, I'm super keen to get rid of Wishart. So he was obviously a dud pick. He's not gonna, lift that 30k back up anytime soon. So I'm going to bring Tyrell Sloan into my NRL fantasy side as well. And then, actually, I need to confirm that trade, and I need to shuffle my team around first. So let's bring the Penrith boys back in. So Yo, I'm going to swap him with Hopgood just because I want to swap Hopgood with Dury. Cleary is swapping with Trindle, and Luke is swapping with Smith. CNK is swapping with Warbrick. Excuse me. So, yeah, the second trade I had to do the switches first because I'm gonna cash out Trindle. He obviously has made us a sweet bit of coin, 140k in Nico Hines' absence. And then the player I want to bring in is Lemuelu from the Dolphins. So obviously Felice Kafusi, 4-game ban. So this suggests to me that Lemuelu's got that spot on the edge for the foreseeable future. He had one game where he scored low because of low minutes. So obviously once that's out of his averages, he'll make some good cash and provide good cover not just on the edge but also in our centre wing position. So if I confirm that, so then just quickly scan through. I think the starting team is about right. The bench definitely Cook and Luke and Lemuelu. I guess you could argue that even he should probably swap with Alamotti. And then I guess we can use Smith as our loophole option. Sorry, wrong one. There we go. Yeah, because our bench is a little bit thin at the moment, which is unfortunate. With Matt Dury on the bench, or relegated to the bench now that Ryan Madison's back. Sean Bloor relegated to the bench now that John Bateman's back. So these picks haven't quite worked out for us. Katoa's in doubt. So probably, I guess what I'm leaning towards is, yeah, let's go Sean Bloor. So Matt Dury's going to sit in the sort of loophole spot like that. And then, if he doesn't go off, then we can, see how if Katoa's playing, he might go in. But probably Alamotti will slot up into that spot, and yeah, we'll hopefully Bloor will get a few minutes. They might shuffle one of Bateman or Pupley into the middle. But like I said, we probably need to look at fixing that up somehow. Maybe throwing the money at Cook early doors wasn't the best bet, but that's okay. NRL fantasy is just a bit of fun. So that's how the NRL fantasy side's going to look at. Sports deck, super quick. Don't think I published the video for this the other day just because of the construction going on next door. So it scored pretty well, actually 916, 300 for the round, into the top half of the the season rank. So we'll take that. And I'll just undo all the changes. Not that it matters too much. So yeah, so you can see Grant was the top scorer, I think, for the whole competition, so to have him as captain was the right call. Um, Other than that, his scores are all pretty standard. Qatar was a bit flat, but Burton did well. Um, yeah, the rest, Tommy Turbo, Nick Meaney, good stuff. Yeah, so the one trade for this week was it wasn't going to be Tanner Boyd, but I actually could afford to trade out Katoa. It doesn't look like the way this game is scored suits him. So, um, where is he? Let's keep going down. So Nico Hines in, and and then probably next week it'll be Boyd out to Schuster. So I'm just going off how big his score was compared to his average. He might make a little bit more cash this week, so we can hold off on that. And then I think, what did I must have just changed these around because um, Fafita plays first. So I'll swap them around. Don't want Boyd on the team. So no to that. 1, 2, 3. I think in the end, just done something like that to get them in. Is there anyone playing particularly late? I guess Kiraz technically. So I might just do a little swapsy. Put the R on Kiraz. Not Taruva, sorry, swap with Nickel Clostad. So yeah, something like that. Captain, yeah, Parry Grant, VC, Cleary, for reasons discussed previously. And yeah, so that's the Sports Tech team updated. So I guess that just leaves us with our AFL Supercoach. So I guess the plan for this week is to use two trades. So I'm getting out of the Jones pick. Don't like it at all. And then what I'm going to do is a couple of dual position swings to bring in Chandler. So 93. So he was one I had an eye on for that second spot, or I guess the F7 spot. And obviously I need to get Sheasel on field, so that sort of makes the most sense, I think. And then Tanner Bruin, not sure about his job role, so I'm going to go with Horn Francis. So he's back in Adelaide. Looks like he's loving life. They're using him heavily, so um, yeah, if I complete the trades, swing Sheasel, swap him around like that. Flanders, we'll swap with Kelly. Obviously, Kelly's out this week with concussion, so having that bit of flexibility there is nice. And then a little bit weak on defence, but excuse me, I got the driest throat this week. I can't work it out. So yeah, a little light on in defence there, relying on Wilmot and Constable. But I think this gives us the best options in terms of looking to next week. Um, so trying to it's going to be more targeting these sort of mid-range guys like Hopper, Flanders, give them a second chance to see if they're going to make a lot of cash. Um, yeah, I think they're the main two. Because other than that, I'm fairly happy with the side. Um, I would like to get another big defender in there. Guess there is also the option of if I do go up from Flanders to like a Rampy and that quick cash grab sort of, his spot would sort of be like the Elliot Yo sort of spot. Um, but I don't think I need to use a boost this week. I can fix it up next week. I think the other thing I was tossing up was with Chandler whether I actually do go with Chandler because his job security is a little bit poorer. Then scored 80 something. Pedler from Adelaide. So I guess they're sort of bigging him up in Adelaide. So I think his job security is a bit more certain, and obviously can still afford that move. It obviously doesn't leave as much cash to make moves next week, um, but I think we can work around that. So yeah, so I think that's how the team's looking. As I said, the bottom half's looking pretty good. I'm pretty happy with the forwards and the rucks. Defence obviously missing someone, at least one, probably two, would be nice. Um, but yeah, obviously Flanders in for Kelly. That midfield looks pretty good. So yeah, we'll have another look and see how we go. But yeah, that's how I guess the teams are all shaping up. It's pretty good getting into the two versions of it now. Excuse me, NRL and AFL. Um, yeah, just a bit more to play around with and distract from everything else. So um, yeah, if you've got any thoughts on how this could differ, feel free to comment. If you're liking the channel, you like this style of video where it's all packed into one, you can quickly see everything that's going on. Give it a like, subscribe to the channel if you want to follow along and get notified when a new video comes out. And then other than that, I think that's all I've got to say. So I'll see you in the next one.